This is,
I think we're on there now.
Sweet.
we are live here, Friday night, first Friday night of the semester. Yes, it's awesome. We're talking about Cupid,
Psyche.
and love of beauty.
But we, as you can see from our last video, we have our lovely new member with us. And so it is only appropriate for her to introduce herself, a little background on who she is and what she's majoring in and what she wants to do after graduation. We did this too, don't we? We're not putting you on the spot. We did this as well.
I'm Wendy Walton. I am from Fort Worth, Texas. I'm glad to be taking this English 315 class online and stoked to learn about the romanticism century. I'm majoring in biology and I graduate this semester.
All right. So,
Let's look at our question prompts now. Discussing with us. Okay, so the question is, how is beauty in this excerpt of poetry like or not like what Edmund Burke would see as beautiful? Concerning that.
so Edmund and Burke, to them, they broke down beauty into like things there was and wasn't, and kind of like the frailty, like a woman was for somebody that was beautiful and it was different than what it is now. And it talked about the beauty of, is it still going?
Video.
Huh?
So when the low power mode, I think just turn off your video. So turn your camera back on. No, so go back to it and you should have a camera option like this. You just like tap on the screen.
What happened is I think I'm in low power mode. Difficulties.
Tap on the screen.
There you go. Okay, you are. So, this story, the story of
Cupid and Psyche.
Psyche, it talks about how she's really beautiful. That's not what's beautiful to Cupid. Cupid falls in love with her by following around and watching her suffer, and that wasn't kind of in Birkenkamp's description of beauty.
Sadly, though, a woman that is weak, I think, is actually one of the descriptions.
It is actually one of those. So that is part of it. But is it how they're similar or how they're different?
Either or.
Well, they're similar then. This falls into what Birkenkamp would have called a beautiful woman, because she was also helpless at points, gave up on moving all the food thingies, and the ants came in and helped her because Cupid made the ants do it. Damsel in distress. It was beautiful, and it was a story, and it was beautiful.
It was interesting in the story with Cupid and Psyche. He went. He went in with the his initial motives were to destroy her pretty much, but he ends up falling in love with her because of his own doing. When he summons her to his palace above, he's like, I don't want you to see me, I just can't, you just like love me and not see me. Yeah. And so I thought that was interesting because I feel like that kind of goes against what Burke would say because if you can't see it, it's kind of like seeing is believing. Like if you can't see the beauty, and if you can't like see the angles, and if you can't see the sides, and if you can't see it, you can't admire it. And
I feel that along with those from the poem, that Cupid actually is described as beautiful from different some of the stanzas actually from the poem that I think does a good job at captivating Cupid in a beautiful way is the third stanza down, right in the middle of it. It says, each little vase resplendently was slung, still as he flew around him, sportive clung, his frolic train of winged zephyrs light, wafting the fragrant which his tresses flung. And so it just makes him sound very dainty, and it's just very smooth. He has this thing slung over him, and he's flying around, breeze or the god. It makes it a very just flowy thing. And as we have read in Burke's beauty, smoothness, and it's not necessarily a consistent line, just a smooth line, is one version or form of beauty. And even in the story of Cupid, I felt it went into more detail in actually how Cupid looked than how Psyche looked.
My phone died. Like, it killed the battery.
So when Cupid had gone in and Psyche shone the light on Cupid, it explained his features and his wings.
Okay.
And his wings, and it just made him a very soft-looking individual. So I just found that quite interesting. I felt that there's more detail actually about Cupid and making him more beautiful in detail. And so I think if Burke was to have written it, Burke and Kent, they would have probably written a very similar description of Cupid. Then not on this side. You can monitor everyone's. Let's see what our next prompt or question is concerning is Cupid beautiful, or does Psyche fit Burke's characteristics of beauty? Another question is it significant that Cupid gets into problems because of Psyche's beauty? Ooh, that's
Does
interesting.
Psyche fit Burke's characteristics of beauty? Just as you're saying, like, her beauty isn't necessarily described so clearly, but it's more just like an assumed beauty, whereas Cupid's beauty is described, whereas Psyche's beauty is, she's more beautiful than Venus, like, which is, I don't know, I found that interesting. But. Trying to think of
Going along with what Brian had said earlier concerning Psyche actually getting into distress, I wonder if we'll be able to find it, but that weakness, which is strange that is a form of beauty, but we see over and over again, despite Psyche not trusting Cupid, or her, as it is explained in the story, her curiosity is what got her into trouble to hold up the lamp and then ultimately to look in the box. Cupid still has pity on her and exercises sympathy, because when he wakes her from her sleep, he restores this beauty back into the box and tells her that to go return it to Venus and that they will be together once again, but that heart is softened. And I feel in a lot of older literature, we don't see it very much nowadays, but older literature, it is, as Brian had said, that damsel in distress that makes the men fall in love, that they had to work hard to earn a prize or a reward. And so I just find that interesting, that maybe a weakness might not mean like is incapable, but not able to complete a task without aid per se. And so I feel like psychologically, when we know that we're wanted or needed, we like someone more, we fall in love with someone more because we serve a purpose for that individual. And so in this case, we see that Cupid, he being a god, falling in love with a mortal, it happened because she actually depended upon him for survival. At first, when Venus wanted her to Cupid to ruin her life, and then once she entered into Venus's presence and had to perform the task, she was still dependent upon Cupid before she became immortal. So I think that plays a factor into the whole weakness aspect of beauty, is Cupid very much felt needed and loved. He served a purpose for Psyche specifically.
And I think just with the time period that is being discussed in romanticism, it focuses more on like an individual rather than like a more broad aspect of something. So when you think of an individual, you think of their need for things in life, and they're more focused on their progression, and the fact that Cupid like felt the need to help another was a form of, I don't know, I guess a form of love that maybe he didn't even think would.
You going with that, like the individualism, if you look back, like her family, it wasn't her family that was the most important thing, nor her sisters, because they ended up kind of causing her some problems. So like that could be like a look at like society causing her the problems, like her society, or just the people that are around her family, her sisters, caused some of the problems that she got into. So it just goes back into the romanticism of it's the individual that's being glorified, and the individual has a problem, and it's not society. So maybe that's just something that has to do with the time period that individuals are just more interesting and almost more important than the whole community or just the small community that was there.
Something else that I feel that helps to express that beauty was within the story of Cupid and Psyche once again, is Psyche, her only flaw seemed to be her curiosity, because she was very respectful of Venus the whole entire time. And her sisters came across ugly because they were cunning, they were conniving, and they tricked her. And so it almost depicted them as ugly, just in that description in their works. But whereas Psyche, she was always very respectful and humble. And in Burke's Beauty, when they talked about it, they talk of delicacy and grace. And I feel that humility is a form of delicacy and grace, because it's a way of holding yourself and maintaining yourself, and it's not abrupt and it's not forward, it's reserved. And so I feel that although we don't have a very detailed visual explanation or description of what Psyche looked like, we can assume her beauty just from the characteristics attached to her.
And I feel like that's something that's like continued today. Like, I don't know, I don't remember where I read it. I can't remember like the quote, but where was going with like the conniving of her sisters. It came up and they were saying that, well, I heard that your husband is this serpent and that you should kill him, and has pretty much, and you should go see what he looks like, and if he's what people are saying he is, then you should kill him. And so with her curiosity, she didn't want to do it, but then she just, like, her curiosity kind of led her. And I find it interesting, it says here from Burke, he said, "For take any beautiful object and give it a broken, rugged surface, and however well formed it may be, in other respects it pleases no longer." So although Cupid had been doing all these things, he'd been pleasing her to her utmost desires, but she was gonna, like, if he wasn't pleasing to the eyes, she was gonna kill him, which is kind of crazy. Like, you could take something beautiful, he was doing all of these nice things, and then if he was a serpent, or if he wasn't even though his actions were beautiful, if his appearance didn't match his actions, it was like an end to it. Like it didn't please her anymore, which I thought was interesting.
Well, if there's nothing else to add,
30 minutes.
we will wrap that up for our discussion about Cupid and Psyche.